I used to have to work this area quite a bit. There was a lot of trafficking that went through here. I'm not even messing around today, definitely armed. Just take measures to protect yourself. There are a lot of times when a perp will try to insert themselves into an investigation. We were that close to them and they had no idea that we were even there. Where would be a good place to set up an ambush? He didn't even notice us. He didn't even look over here. And when I talk about predators, I don't just mean people. They had been gnawing on his legs. But oh my God, it's swampy in here. He was following the girls on this trail system. I used these birch trees right here as cover. I waited for him to pass. You should have seen the look on that guy's face. Really deep in right now. But we could easily sneak in on these people and they would have no idea we were here. They are literally just on the other side of this creek right here. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to sneak up on people. But no matter how peaceful, no matter how serene the environment is, the danger lurks in the shadows. Stay safe, my friends. What's up, FTFers? Today I wanted to get out in the field and I wanted to test some gear and talk to y'all about some stuff. But I just really felt compelled to talk to y'all about this. I am on the outskirts of a very popular park here in town. And back when I was in service, I used to have to work this area quite a bit. There was a lot of trafficking that went through here, drug and child trafficking, and unfortunately a lot of missing persons cases. And I was just trying to go through the trail systems that parallel to the park because that's something that we used to use quite often, and the reason is because we were looking for predators. It's sad, but it's true. These trail systems that you see right here are overlooking this park down here, and all morning I've been watching people walk, talking, totally unaware of what's going on around them. And I did not want to walk through the park. I'm not even messing around today. I am definitely armed. I've got my duty holster on, my Safariland. I've got my Glock 20. And the reason is because of all the cases that I've worked here before. And I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that even if you're in a huge public place like we are right now, you never know when somebody's watching you. You always need to be aware of that. Keep your head on a swivel. It's just so easy for predators to get up here with some optics and look down below for prey. And I mean, look how much cover there is right here. So much cover, so easy for them. Just it makes me sick that people are like that, but people have no idea what goes on around them, and that's what I'm really trying to tell you. Just for the love of God, please take measures to protect yourself. There are a lot of times when a perp will try to insert themselves into an investigation. They just can't stay away from the scene. And that's how we catch a bunch of them. And we're kind of getting close to an area where I was able to catch somebody. We're now at the end of the park and we're about to enter into WMA and core property. So I'm gonna take y'all to an area and I'm gonna show y'all how I caught this guy. And just to give y'all an example of what I'm talking about, there's a group that's coming around the bend right now, and I'm just gonna be still. I'm literally 10 yards from the edge of the woods here, and we'll see if they actually notice us as they come around. We're just gonna be quiet and watch, see what happens. And as you can see, I mean, we were that close to them and they had no idea that we were even there. And the thing about the area that we're in right this second, there is plenty of egress for us. If you're an ambush predator, this would be a great spot to set up. And unfortunately, sometimes the good guys have to think like the bad guys, like where would be a good place to set up an ambush. And this is the perfect spot for it right here, because here's a trail that cuts into the park itself. We've got egress going that way. We also have egress going this way, and up here there's a split in the trail. And if you go right on this trail, then you're gonna go straight into no man's land where nobody goes hardly ever. And there's also another spot we could go up in here. It would be really easy for us to position ourselves in these bushes, because we can also, something I should point out is on this trail, there's so much visibility. You can see a long way on this trail system. And I'm gonna just come out here and show you what I'm talking about. So from this field right here, I mean, look how far off in the distance I can see. And I can see this entire trail system that goes around right here. And that's where people enter the woods. That's where that group of women and children went into the woods right there. All I'd have to do is set up right here and all of this thick stuff, and I've got plenty of visibility if somebody's coming. Like there's somebody coming right now, as you can see. But all I got to do is slip back here in the woods. And I mean, the reality is that people like that, a lot of times they wear AirPods or headphones and they're listening to music and they're not really paying attention to their surroundings anyway. So I could see that guy coming. I can slip back in here and I bet you he won't even notice. We'll stand right here out in the open. I'm not trying to conceal anything, I'm just being still. Let's see if we can get him. Yep. He's got headphones in right now. We were out in the clearing. He didn't even notice us. He didn't even look over here. You know, it's just amazing to me because you don't even have to camouflage yourself. I mean, quite literally, if you just stand there, somebody that close to you, they won't see you. I mean, it amazes me. And I do this when I go hunting as well. I can literally go through guys' areas and they have no idea that I was there. Sometimes when I'm watching them, they're on their phones, or they're reading a book, or they're just staring off in the distance, or maybe they're even sleeping. It just really amazes me how much people just don't pick up on. We must continue on. And when I talk about predators, I don't just mean people. I mean animals as well. I had an incident here that I'm gonna tell you all a story about this one, but I just noticed all this hog sign that's out. The hogs have been tearing and rooting it in here, and there's a wallow right there. But that reminds me of a story of a guy here, a very unique case anyway. A guy was using a GPS app while he was running here, and it was in the winter. There weren't a lot of people running at the time. It was actually pretty cold. I'm just searching for tracks. But anyway, what he did was he ended up getting lost big time. And he waited until his phone got down to about 1% before he called 911. And he had tried really hard to get out. This guy had been running for a long time when this took place. I think by the time I got called out, let's see, it was 2:30 in the morning. And what the guy did was Number one, when he placed the call, he did not stay still. It's really hard for trackers and dogs, canine teams, to find you if you just keep moving. But he was really cold, and so he was using movement to try to stay warm. And what he did was he found a depression in the ground, and he covered himself up with leaves. And unfortunately, a group of about 30 hogs came in, and God, I hate hills, and started gnawing on him. So he kicked and screamed and yelled at them for a while, and they didn't go away. And eventually there's a chair. See if I can, that's on this, there's a chair on this path. Somebody's been sitting there. But anyway, now that we've got to the top of the hill, we can see it. And I see something else in the background staring at us. It looks like hogs. 1, 2, 3 of them. I'm gonna see if I can, that's too far for me to zoom in. I'll try though. Let's see. Let's see. Way up there is where they are. I can't see it on the screen, but there's 3 hogs out there right now. By the time we get over there, they'll be long gone. But anyway, this guy, to try to get away from the hogs, what he did was he climbed up in a tree, and he was so tired. What he did was he fell out of the tree, and when he hit the ground, he knocked himself out. And by the time I found him, he was unconscious, barely responsive. I mean, when I shook him and said his name, he was not there. He didn't say anything. And they had been gnawing on his legs by the time I got there. That poor guy, like, we had to get him on a sked and then get him to a place of egress where we could get him out on a gator, and then we ended up life flighting that guy. But you never know. I mean, just weird stuff happens. And yeah, so I just told you all that story because that happened not too far from here, actually. And you know, you need to be aware of people and the animals that are in your area. And just like we talked about cover for people, we are walking into an area that is like incredible cover for hogs. I'm gonna show y'all what we're walking through right here. It is nasty up in here, super wet, and I can see, you know, trail systems running all through this grass. But this is when you got to be careful walking through stuff like that. Right there is a wallow. See if I can get it to you so you can see it. There's a couple of them, one that's right there and then one that's right there as well. But you got to watch out for hogs because they'll stay still and then they'll pop out on you real fast. And they don't just come out and start gnawing on you. That's not how they do it. What they do is they wait. Then when you get close enough, they'll run and try to slash you with their tusks. So I'm just being careful in here because this is like hog heaven. And now I see tracks and prints everywhere in these track traps. Yeah, they're definitely, I don't know if y'all can see this or not, but there they are. Oh yeah, there's got to be a sow and 2 youngins running around with her right here. Oh, I bet that's what we were seeing. Something else that you need to be aware of is, see all this down timber, the waste from where they were clear cutting this area in here. I mean, that's a perfect place for snakes. It's definitely snake season, and we're in a bunch of tall grass, And so I'm going to keep my head on a swivel here and try to get through this without incident. God, it's just so much nasty we're walking through right now. And I just heard something running off on the side right over here to us. It could be those hogs checking us out. But oh my God, it's swampy in here. Now I'm seeing deer tracks as well, raccoons, possum. I'm just gonna try to get us out of here right now, get us back to some high ground. There we go. Now we're near where that chair was. You know, something else that really upsets me too is just people in general and their trash. I mean, just look at this. It's all littered all over the place. It's just, come on, people. You know, just be responsible. Be a better person. Wow, that's a big old hog right there. That's got to be Mama. And they were just up here in this this path that's up here. That's where they were at. They hauled ass out of there. They went to the left of it. They went in here, and it would have been nothing for them to be on our left side, and that could have been what we heard crashing through the woods right there. Mama checking us out. We'll just stay vigilant. I really don't want to haul one out of here though. That would really suck at this point. It's early in the morning, but it's gonna get warmer today. And yeah, oh my God, could you imagine the bugs, the ticks and the chiggers and the mosquitoes are gonna be out. Oh yeah, it is nice and marshy in here. That is definitely what they were doing, is chilling out right here. And all this water, God, it's everywhere out in here. It's just so swampy now that they've cut all the trees down, and these old logging roads provide a perfect spot for them to wallow in. Oh wow, yeah, this is a perfect wallow spot right here on both sides. And then we should be able to see their tracks. Yeah, there they are. They scattered right here. Okay, well, let's just keep moving. All right, so I promised y'all I would show you a spot where I had to ambush a guy. We had canines on the ground. They were searching for the victim, and I was a tracker. And so I was following tracks of what I suspected was the perp. And I happened to be up on this trail system right here. Now, he was following the girls on this trail system. And back then, this was, you know, barely wide enough for two people to walk on. Now that they've, you know, come back here and clear cut this area, this is the old logging trail now. But I spotted him way down there. Let me see if I can zoom you in. But way up there is a hill that comes down, and there's a dip right there. And so what I did was I spotted him from up here. I had a monocular at the time, and I was watching my canine handlers come down this trail right here. And so when he hit the dip down there, what I did was I came down here and I ran across, and it's a little bit more grown up right now, but I'm gonna take y'all down into the area right here, and that's where I hid out to ambush him right here in this spot, and that's how we caught the guy. So I'm gonna take y'all down there now. All right, so right there is the trail, and right here is a path that leads down to right here. And what I did was, I don't know if y'all can see this drop off or not, but there's a pretty good drop off right here that goes down, and I'm gonna have to run it down to show y'all, but this is where I laid in wait for the ambush, and I used these birch trees right here as cover. And I could see, I don't know if y'all can see this or not, but the path goes right across there. And so what I did was I stayed right here. I laid down on the ground right here. And it's kind of hard to hide yourself when you're all tacked out and everything, and your BDUs and all your gear and everything else that you got. And so I waited for the canine handlers to pass right in front of me, right here. And he was trailing them about 50 yards at the time. So I had a pretty good chance, or a pretty good amount of time to wait for the guy, because he was creeping on him. But yeah, this is where I ambushed him. And what I did was when I was waiting right here, I waited for him to pass right here. And then I just rushed up this hill right through here. And that's when I got the guy right here. Now, at the time, I had a throat mic and an earpiece in, and I went ahead and radioed in, and the canine handlers, they were a little bit further down the trail when this took place, and they came back, but you should have seen the look on that guy's face. Like, I knew immediately that guy was guilty, and you should have seen the look on the canine handler's face when they realized that they were being tracked as well. And it goes to show you, even if you're on a professional team, a special operations team, you can still be a victim. You can still be prey. And that's why I'm saying, I'm preaching so hard, like, keep your head on a swivel, be aware of what's going on around you. Obviously, being on a team like that, you are zoned in on the mission, on what you're doing. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were reading the behavior of the dog, and they weren't paying attention to what was behind them on the trail. So thankfully, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and we were able to get that guy. Thank God. Another predator off the trail. And ironically, right now, I hear people back here. I can hear, sounds like somebody who's pretty young that's back here on the trail right now. They are in no way worried about anything. They're that way. I don't know if y'all can hear them or not, but it sounds like they're playing over by the creek over there. There's a nice spot over there. And they didn't come from this direction the way that we came. They came from the other direction, which is close to Highway 140. So they must have just come down to this spot to, you know, hang out by the water. I just heard an adult talk. I heard a male voice. So we're just gonna leave them be, but you know, there again, there's another example of where, you know, if there was an ambush predator here, you know, there you go. And we are really deep in right now. We're about 2 miles from the park, and about another, let's see, it would be about 1.5 miles to get to Highway 140 right there. But we could easily sneak in on these people, and they would have no idea we were here. Maybe we should, just to prove a point. They are literally just on the other side of this creek right here. I'm gonna keep creeping alongside and see if I can film them from a little bit further over. You can see their red shirts. Let's see. There they are, right there. And it looks like they're just out there playing now. What they did was there's a path that's right here. See if I can show y'all. There's a path right there, and they were just on the other side of the creek right here, and then they went up that path to where they are now, and we were literally right over here. But once again, shows you it's real easy to sneak up on people. It looks like there's 2 girls, and I don't know if that's a dad or not. He's an older male, may or may not be. You know, in the right circumstance, that could be a bad day as well. And we're pretty far in the woods as well. I mean, it's unusual for me to see people back here anymore. And it looks like they're just up there chilling, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to sneak up on people. Now they've stopped moving, and we could actually gain ground on them right now because they're being still. It looks like they might even be coming back this way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slip back down into, you see, yeah, here they come. All right, we gotta get out of here before they see us. We're out of their line of sight right now. See if they come down to the water's edge. See if we can spot them. Let me find a good spot and see if we can hide behind this birch down on the ground and see if they come up. See what they're doing. Okay, they went back down. They turned around and went back down the power line up here. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but they started going the other way. Now this is a beautiful spot that we've got right here. I mean, it would be a great place for us to take a rest, etc. But I don't want to be exposed. I'm always talking about, you know, good habits. You need to develop good habits. And, you know, what if this was a non-permissive environment? You would not want to be caught out in the open like this. So we're going to go find a spot where there's just not as much visibility right here. Right here, we're just fishing the barrel. So I'm going to get out of this spot, find a better place for us to go. Try out some gear real quick. All right, so here's a good little spot to go. We're going to drop down a little bit to the water's edge. And yeah, I like this spot. There's lots of cover for us here. Yeah, we'll go right over here. And in this spot right here, we'll be able to hear anybody that's coming. We've got plenty of water right here for us. Nice place for us to chill out, get the backpack off, hydrate up a little bit. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that right here. Let me see if I can find a spot that I can put y'all. So those 2 minors and that adult, they came back down the power line, and I can hear them off in the distance. They're probably 35 yards away from us, but I don't suspect that they're gonna come down this way because I intentionally went off the beaten path. I mean, about the only way they would find us would be if they were actually in the creek. But I just hear them over there talking, cutting up and everything, and I don't think they're headed towards us at all. So we're basically gonna set up an observation post right here, I guess, and see what happens. I don't want to freak anybody out back here by any means. That's not a good thing to do. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hydrate up, get some snacks in me, and I think we're gonna break in the new Vargo stove and the new Grail. Go ahead and light a fire in that, and maybe have some coffee. So let's go ahead and prime our pre-filter here. Get it nice and saturated. There we go. Go ahead and pre-filter some water into our Grail cup. This is the titanium version. This is actually the Ultra Press, for those of you that wanted to know. You don't actually have to use a pre-filter bag like this. I mean, you could just go ahead and fill this up from the creek, and then, you know, use the Grail, press it, 11 seconds, you got water. But I like to use a pre-filter because I'm always doing this, and I try to save my filter for as long as I possibly can. And there we go. Do we have anything in there? No, that's pretty clear. I'll show y'all how clear that is. Pretty good. Now, one thing I haven't done is I haven't tested my titanium Vargo hexagonal wood stove. It's pretty simple. It just unfolds. I don't like things that are complicated to put together. This one just snaps in. It's got a little gate for you to put the fuel in. I'm gonna go ahead and set it right here on a rock. Now, something that you've got to be careful is, just because you have a wood stove doesn't mean that it will actually fit the vessel that you're trying to boil the water in. So what I've done in this particular case is I've got 2 of my tent stakes. I'm just gonna go ahead and set them in to the slots like that. And now I have a little base that I can put the container on so I can boil the water. What I've got here is one of my Wazoo fire plugs. And that's what I'm gonna start the fire with. These things are just so easy to use. I just really like them a lot. They're just so handy. You don't have to go and find, you know, any of the fat wood or birch bark or, you know, any of the other stuff we use to start fires with. These are just so easy to break apart, kind of like the Vaseline cotton balls. They're completely waterproof. Doesn't matter if they're soaking wet, they'll still burn. And I think today, instead of using a Bic lighter, I'm just gonna use my Viking Spark. Let's go ahead and give it a little playtime right here. Flick of the wrist, there we go. Can put that back on. And all I've got are just a bunch of twigs here. I'm just gonna start throwing them in there. Go ahead and set my Grail cup there. Instead of just boiling the water, we're actually gonna have some coffee. This is the campfire coffee from the Bushcraft Coffee Company. This stuff is awesome. Go ahead and set that in there. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all see this from this side. And there we go. And all you gotta do is add a twig in there every so often. Keep it going. All right, so I went ahead and loaded that thing up with fuel just so that we could stand on top of the hill here. We're right below there. You can't see any smoke. So anybody that's walking on a path, they can't see what we're doing. I mean, as far as Gray Man goes, having a self-contained fire like that, where you can concentrate the heat, boil your water really fast, doesn't get any better than that. About the only thing that you have to deal with is the smell, but that can easily be taken care of very quickly. And when our stove is done, we'll be able to pour out the ashes into the stream. Nobody even know we were there. And there we go, we got a rolling boil now. It took a little bit of time, I'm not gonna lie. I've got to say, my Solo stove is way more efficient. We can go ahead and take this off, set that down. let it cool off a little bit, let that thing burn down, and then we can enjoy our bushcraft coffee. All right, I'm gonna be honest with you, I do not like the Vargo. I mean, it boiled the water, don't get me wrong, it did it in 7 to 10 minutes. I didn't, actually time it, but I can tell. The Solo Stove is way more efficient. Now don't get me wrong, the Vargo is super lightweight, easy to pack. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the Vargo and I'm gonna put it in the Terra Humara pack and make like a day pack with it. And I'm gonna put the Solo Stove back into this kit right here, just because in survival it's the little things that really add up to make a huge difference. And if I was in a non-permissive environment, a few minutes, 5 minutes, that makes a big difference. And I'm gonna have to go with the Solo Stove. So far I haven't found anything like it. Don't get me wrong, the Vargo did fine, it did its job. It's just not as efficient as the Solo Stove. I'm gonna have to go back to the Solo Stove. It's my official review of the Vargo, and you can chomp on that. On the plus side, the coffee is excellent. I mean, that's really good coffee. I ain't lying, that's some good coffee. I'm gonna have to get some more of this from Casey, for sure. And we got a nice char on our Grail, so now we don't look like a rookie. And we also got some heat marks on our stove. So I can say we got out here, we tested some stuff. We overcame an obstacle with these tent pegs. A little hack for y'all for your wood stoves. That worked out really nice for a grill or a grate, so we could boil the water. Overall, I'm happy with that. I had a guy one time tell me when I was young, someone I looked up to, that you've got to be careful about turning your passions into a job. And I've also heard people talk about, if you find your passion, you'll never work another day in your life. And coming from somebody who has chased their passions their entire life, I can tell you that that is absolutely not true, that I still have to get out here and work. And you have the same stresses when you're working your passion that you would if you had just a regular 9-to-5 job. For me, being a survival instructor, I'm always out in the wild. I'm teaching classes, I'm going to events, I'm making content. And every now and then my wife will tell me, get lost. You need to get out there and literally get lost. And the reason for that is because this is my church. This is my cathedral. This is where I come to center myself, to fill up my tank, to defrag. And every now and then it's good to just get out there and not really have a purpose or a mission, something that you have to do. Sometimes it's good to just get out there, get in the woods and enjoy a cup of coffee, hang out by the stream, listen to the water, listen to the animals around you, and just be in the moment. And I'm just glad that I could bring y'all along for the journey. So here's to being in the moment. Now I'm gonna take these ashes and I'm just gonna pour them into the creek. And there they go. Very little sign that we were actually here. Okay, and there's the spot where we had the fire. You can barely tell that there was a fire there. I mean, you would really have to be looking. So, from a gray man perspective, from camouflaging yourself out here, cleaning everything back up just to make sure no one knows that you were here. The only thing that we've got left are these twigs that I picked up. And what I'm gonna do is pick them up and I'm gonna just throw them off into the woods. And now I've been really mindful of where I step to make sure that I'm not stepping on a track trap. I've been stepping on the rocks just to make sure. So we've left, no footprint here whatsoever. What I can say about that Vargo, I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, I had to burn 4 times as much fuel to get a boil. But now, I've tested the equipment, we've tested the Grail. Now we got to make sure that we get a good seal on the Grail. So I'm gonna test that next, just to make sure that the fire didn't warp the cup on the Grail. So that'll be the next thing we do. All right, back in the water. Let's go ahead and rinse this thing out. Go ahead and use our pre-filter again. The pre-filters work so much better if you go ahead and pre-wet them. Now I want to be very clear, this is not filtering out any of the stuff that can harm you, it's just debris. All right, we're going to go ahead and fill that up to the line inside the cup. Discard the rest. We'll set that down, go ahead and loosen up the vent. And let's see, how well does it work? I hear it working. Nothing's shooting out of the sides. Everything's nice and smooth. All right, and it looks like the Grail performed flawlessly there, so that's good news. Yeah, tastes great, nice and cool. Always test your stuff. You know, if I had to leave y'all with one thing, I would say, you know, you need to get out here. You need to enjoy life. You can let all this prepping and this end of the world apocalyptic mentality just ruin your life. You can forget to enjoy the things that matter. You know, get out there, find your peace, follow your passion, play with your toys, test your gear, test yourself. You know, get some exercise, get out here and enjoy nature and all that it has to offer you. But one thing that you need to remember is that no matter how peaceful, no matter how serene the environment is, that danger lurks in the shadows. Stay safe, my friends, and keep fueling those fires.
We're launching the biggest giveaway we've ever had on this channel. We're giving one of you this fully customized Chevrolet Silverado Trail Boss Z71 thanks to Vanish. I love this thing. The Vanish holster is the most comfortable holster I've ever worn. It's made with premium materials that enhance all-day carry for the everyday American. This is an incredibly versatile holster that works with 99% of modern handguns, allows you to carry 2 extra magazines, and can be worn in just about any configuration you can imagine. To enter, all you have to do is click the link in the description and get yourself the most comfortable holster you've ever worn with a money-back guarantee. And Vanish will hook you up. They're knocking $50 off the retail price for anyone who buys using our special link below. Get an exclusive discount and extra entries this week only when you use our link below. Don't wait, because this giveaway ends in a few weeks.